Doctor, the difference between a $1 million practice and the $3 million one isn't how many ops you have, where you're located, or even how many hours you work. The difference comes through clarity, alignment, and refinement. As Dr. Bruce Baird, PDA's co-founder, says, there is no silver bullet to get you that dream practice. It's a million little things we do every day that gets you the success you deserve. That is why we have invited Matt Mulcock, CEO of Dentist Advisors, for a multi-episode podcast extravaganza to share with you how to live a rich life. You can see Matt and Productive Dentist Academy CEO Victoria Peterson at the upcoming Dentist Money Summit this June 21st to the 22nd in Park City, Utah. And as an Everyday Practices Dental podcast listener, you get a whopping 25% off admission when you use the code PDA25 at checkout. That is PDA25. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Everyday Practices podcast. I'm Reagan Robertson, and my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, and I are on a mission to share the stories of everyday dentists who generate extraordinary results using practical, proven methods you can take right into your own dental practice. If you're ready to elevate patient care and produce results that are anything but ordinary, buckle up and listen in. Welcome to Everyday Practices Dental Podcast. I am your host, Reagan Robertson, rocking a little bit of a cold. No problem here, though. Joined by Dr. Chad Johnson, my esteemed co-host. You know, at a certain point, I've seen a lot of marriages in particular struggle. And it's sad to me because it's when you have this huge travel schedule and you're working all the time and you're trying to be everything to everyone. And it's just impossible at times. And I know for myself personally, my travel schedule this year in particular has been more intense than normal. So I have become hyper-focused on being intentional in the moment and making sure that I balance it. So I have almost a little check. If I do something for work, am I balancing out on my home life as well? And so this actually sounds like an event where if I was a dentist, I could go to it and I could also maybe bring my family and they would have a lot of stuff to do. So I could see them in the evening or I could extend my stay out a little bit longer and still have a lot of fun stuff to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for, Reagan. I appreciate you saying that. We talk about this a lot because in our space, in financial planning and investment management, it's really easy to get into the hustle culture, or we talk about like the optimization of life, like you're optimizing your returns, you're optimizing your cash flow. These are all great things. We all want these things and we focus a lot on these things. What I say, like the spreadsheet answers, we need to be focusing on those things, but we also want to take some time, and we encourage our clients all the time to take a step back and answer the question, why are you even doing this? What is this even for? And so that's really what this hopefully is. The essence of this whole event is meant to kind of encompass that, like answer the question, why is money even important to you? What are you actually doing this for? What are your core values behind all this? Because it can't just be about the numbers on the screen. That's going to lead an empty life.
I know that Matt's not just given lip service to this either, because after I registered, I got an email in the last month saying, hey, send us a few pictures of your family living the rich life. And it was kind of a weird question in one sense, because I think not all dentists want to embrace the mentality of what does richness or fullness, what does that look like? And I think the cool thing is that would make people reevaluate. It's like, are you going to go into your closet and take a picture of your safe? Or are you going to take a picture of you on the beach with your loved ones? Are you going to take a picture of your daughter graduating from the college that you sent her to because you were able to pay for it? Stuff like that. So
Chad,
it was cool.
I live my life mission-based, and that's exactly it. And this is shout out to Donald Miller. I have to plug him for this, especially his Hero on a Mission book.
Especially if he were to join us for a podcast at some point.
Shout out, Donald, get out here.
Well, it started with my dad, who my dad told me when I was, looking at different career options. And he said, just do what you love and the money will follow. He's always said that. Bruce and Victoria are huge proponents of that also. So you're talking energetic, Matt. You're talking when you're asking what's the rich life and how does this present to you? Chad, when you said picturing your children graduating from a particular school, that is exactly how I think of everything. And when I talk to Victoria, that is that I want to be able to give to my children without them worrying, whatever they choose. Education to me is such power. and being passionate and following and having the space to do that. So I never ever think about, am I in a right pay band? Or I never focus on the numbers. I focus on the life that I want. And then it feels like by taking certain steps, it just naturally aligns that way.
That's
you
right.
do have to be methodical about it, and you do have to put in some structure. You can't just have the wish. You have to put the business plan behind it.
Yeah, I love that, Reagan. We talk about this a lot around, and we were kind of joking earlier about people making comments. I think about both of our levels of work of like, don't you just help people get rich and that kind of thing? I think what you're describing is something, again, we talk about a lot, which is the direction matters. Meaning, I think there's a difference between saying I'm pursuing getting rich versus getting rich ensues from what I'm focused on in like my daily life. Like being rich or money could be an output for sure, could be a result. But I think there's a huge difference in saying that's something I'm pursuing. In our opinion, it's like what you're saying, pursue the rich life, pursue what you actually want and create an image of what that looks like for you. Create a day, like what does my day in the life of a rich life look like? And what that means, I think it's very different than saying like, I need $10 million to retire.
Sure.
That to me is never going to work. It's not going to lead to a life of fulfillment.
Okay, I don't think that's going to work. However, I will shout out to, I think it's called Elements. It was an app that you guys made. Reese Harper introduced it to me, like what your net value is and then what you will need. So what you will need to have the lifestyle that you deserve. So it's really that combination of aspirational pursuit, and then you do have to put some data with it.
Totally.
So when I met with our financial advisor, because of all of my dentist advisor's knowledge and education over years, I was able to go to him and say, okay, here's what I want. Here's what I'm thinking. And he even took us deeper with questions. Well, what kind of vacations do you want to take? How many times do you think you want a vacation a year? Matt, this is all you 100%. So, and then he said, at the end, we got down to the number. This is what you're going to have at that time based on everything that we know.
Sounds like a good advisor because, and I know there's tons out there, but even the questions that you just highlighted that he's asking you, that's what an advisor should be asking you, because we see the opposite. People who come to us who worked with advisors for 10, 15, just recently 20 years, and the advisor not asking any of those questions, they come to us and they think they're fine because the advisor just did the surface level stuff. And then I have to sit there and be like, you're not fine, because they weren't actually digging into the actual numbers. Like you just said it, Reagan, what kind of vacations do you want?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference in saying I want to go camping a couple times a summer versus I want to go to Greece.
Yes.
There's a huge difference there, and you have to dive into those things. And I love what you said, Reagan. You're totally right. You have to marry the two together. We think the numbers and all that kind of stuff that we're talking about, the spreadsheet stuff, that's table stakes. You should have that. What we think gets lost in a lot of this is the other side of this, the qualitative side that we try to emphasize a lot with people.
I mean, the speaker lineup is incredible. Any speakers you want to call out or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So we've been very adamant about the theme and going along with this theme. Now, every single person, so take like Kira Dent, Dr. Ashley Hovez, Parent Desportes, we have so many speakers that bring their different angle and their different expertises. Another one, Dr. Daniel Crosby. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Daniel Crosby. We were talking books earlier. If you want some good money books, check out Daniel Crosby. He has a book called The Laws of Wealth. It's one of the best books, definitely one of the best money books. I think one of the best books I've ever read. And he's a PhD behavioral psychologist turned financial advisor. He is incredible. He's going to talk a lot about our minds, how they work against us, kind of within this theme around investing and living a rich life. So everyone kind of is following a similar theme, but bringing their own kind of flavor to it.
I want to call this out big time because it sounds to me like you've definitely been to your fair share of productivity workshops because of the theme and how it all zips together. Cohesion in education is critical. And I have been to enough dentist events and small business events where you've got conflicting philosophies. I'll go up and I will hear an incredible speaker and I will get really, really excited about how this person lays out different frameworks that you can apply to your business. The next speaker comes up, also an incredible speaker, but you can see almost immediately that the philosophies are going to fight. They're going to clash together. And it leaves me feeling the same way about the experience. I feel excited, but I don't know what direction I should go. Yeah. So that's something in event planning that I don't think is talked about often, but making sure that people are clear about the mission of the event and then understanding how they fit into that. I don't think it's micromanaging. I think you're giving them a heck of a lot of freedom. And also you're calling out the alignment.
Yes, exactly. And this is something you just mentioned that we have been honestly inspired by the PDA events because you guys do this extremely well. No one leaves confused by conflicting messages. It's very, very well done. Obviously, you guys have been doing it for, coming up on 20 years, I think.
2 decades.
So, I totally agree, Reagan. And this is our first crack at it. So we know there's going to be things we're going to learn along the way, but we're extremely excited about it.
Do you still have seats available or are you sold out?
No, so not sold out. We do have some seats available. Right now, we're nearing the close to 200 mark. So it's getting up there, but we definitely have seats available for sure. If you check it out at dentistmoneysummit.com.
I guarantee it'll be just like PDA, where half of the fun is talking outside of class time with other dentists that are focused on the right things.
I love that you said that, Chad, because I think anyone who comes to something like this, understanding what it is, understanding the theme, you're going to have like-minded. It's the same thing with PDA events, right? You get just a bunch of like-minded people. It's a very similar vibe in how they want to approach life and money. And so I totally agree with that. The dinners after, the drinks after, like the learning you'll do after and the connections you'll make, I think is going to be probably the most underrated part of this whole thing.
It's going to be a high, vibrant, high frequency event. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what was the website again?
dentistmoneysummit.com.
dentistmoneysummit.com in Park City, Utah. Is it $1,000 tuition?
It is, but we have a discount code for all PDA members.
Yes.
So I will double check this and make sure I get it to you so you can post it.
We will include it in the email blast. We'll include it anywhere you subscribe to our podcast. Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yes.
And if they mention Iron Cowboy, they get a free high five from me at the event.
I'd be remiss if we didn't at least do a quick plug for James Lawrence, Iron Cowboy.
Which you have to YouTube if you've not seen him and you're into triathlon stuff.
Was he on American Ninja? Was he on the Ninja show? No.
No, so Iron Cowboy.
This guy's that is such small potatoes.
So he'll tell his story, but he's unbelievable just because he's one of those guys that just make me feel so inadequate in all aspects of life. He decided as he got into Ironmans, and he tells his whole story. We actually did a podcast with him a couple months ago promoting the event and talking about his story. But long story short, he gets into Ironmans and then decides, you know what, I'm going to take this to another level and I'm going to go ahead and try to break the record. He starts off with half Ironmans and then he breaks the record for most half Ironmans done in a year. He does like 36. And then he's like, you know what, not good enough. I'm going to go do 50 Ironmans in 50 different states in 50 straight days.
Right.
And so, he there's a whole documentary. He writes a book about it. And then during COVID, he decides, you know what, I'm going to take it even further. I'm going to do 100 Ironmans in 100 straight days. He's just next level.
100 Ironmans in 100 straight days. So no rest days?
No, you rest when it's over.
You mentioned that you interviewed him on your podcast. What's the name of your podcast, sir?
So our podcast is The Dentist Money Show. If you can go look on our website, dentistadvisors.com, look up James Lawrence, you'll find the interview. But so Dentist Money Show, we've been doing for about 8 years now.
I'm going to go listen to it right away because I want to know what long-lasting health effects happened from doing that for 100 days.
Good question.
If it negatively impacted him. I mean, that's just really, when you push your body that hard, that's a compelling story. This is going to be an amazing event. Wow. So, for your first one to come out of the gate like this,
I know.
Geez, you're punching strong, man.
I wish I could take any credit for that. Our team, Spencer Chipping, who's running the whole thing, I gave him full control over all of it. He's done an incredible job. Our team, literally the amount of work that you guys know this, Reagan, you know this better than anyone. The amount of work that goes into putting an event like this together is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our team has been amazing. So we're excited. The only problem that I have with the whole thing, speaking of James Lawrence, is that I'm speaking after him. And there could not be a greater letdown in the history of mankind than going from James Lawrence. I'm just saying, that's going to be a lot of pressure. I'm going to have to work out.
I'll tell you, your shoulder muscles are impressive. You've got good looking upper traps there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm going to do some extra push-ups that morning. We're excited. We appreciate you guys letting us talk about it, and hopefully everyone can come.
I'm going to be there. I can't wait.
Yeah, Chad's going to be there. Reagan, are you coming? Christine's coming.
And Christine is coming, I believe. Yeah, Victoria will be there. But how could we not? And I'll tell you what Bruce Baird told me when I very first started speaking. They would put me on stage for 5 minutes at a time. And I was so nervous. And he said, just tell them what you know. It's not about being the most charismatic. And it's definitely not about having completed 100 Ironmans in 100 days. It will be compelling. But Matt, you're brilliant in your own right.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
So
Yes.
just tell them what you know. You don't have to be anything other than yourself. You'll be great.
Thank you so much. I didn't know this was going to be like a pep talk therapy session for me, but I
You've got
appreciate
it.
it. I needed it.
You've got
I
this.
needed it as we get closer to 30 days out. I'm like, I need this, guys, because I know the speaker lineup and I'm like, oh, it's going to be tough to fit in with them. But no, I'm excited. It'll be a good time.
It's
That's
going to
awesome.
be great. So are you joining us then also in September? I know Dentist Advisors et al. Will be
Oh,
supporting us.
yes. I will definitely be there in September. I think of the last like 6 we've gone to or so, I think I've been to 5 of them. So I try not to miss PDA.
Well, I know Dentist Advisors, we've done several curriculums almost every time, if not every time. The curriculum is so well rewarded. It's well rated. It's good, deep knowledge. Again, it fits the philosophy of productivity. So it's just a natural marriage between the two. I get giddy every time I see Dentist Advisors because your crew is always so fun and
right.
uplifting. And it's just the vibe is right. The frequency, it's just really exciting. And this being the 20th anniversary, it's going to be spectacular. I guess we stayed with the athletic theme since we'll have Emmett Smith.
I was just going to say, yeah, Emmett Smith coming. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really inspiring. It's so much about the mindset. And maybe that's why business events often lean towards athletics. I'm not sure if it's for the razzle-dazzle effect of it. I'm not that into athletics, but I am into the discipline and the
High
mindset that it
performance.
takes.
Yes.
Yeah.
High performance.
Yeah. I think it's the same kind of principles that go into being an incredible athlete that would be to be an incredible dentist or incredible business owner.
Yes.
I think there's the same principles for sure. I have a best friend I've had for literally 30 years. Met him when I was 6 years old. He's a huge Cowboys fan, which is ironic because I'm a massive Eagles fan. So we kind of rival. I'm not going to tell Emmett Smith there, by the way. Please don't. I hope he's not listening to this because I do want to meet him.
I'm
We're
going to go
have
right
the
before you.
cheerleaders there
Yeah.
too. Did you know we're going to have the cheerleaders are also
No, are
coming?
you really?
Yeah.
So I told my friend this and he's like, okay, so I can come. He has nothing to do with dentistry. But he's like, I'm going to show up. I'm just going to come. I was like, okay.
Dude,
yeah,
he's gonna come.
Yeah. I'm like, sure. Let's get, maybe I'll bring him with the DA team.
The amount of non-dentists that are aiming to come or asking to come or are confirmed to come is kind of large for Emmett Smith.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine how many people are you expecting here?
I'm not going to put a number on it.
But a decent amount. I'm like,
yeah, I think it's going to be an incredible party. And I think it's going to be a great celebration, not of PDA tooting its horn. We're going to have so many PDA Hall of Famers and people who have done the pursuit, as you said, Matt, and have achieved it.
Yeah.
And to have the opportunity of that much success in one room, not just of people like it. It's not a focus on them. It's about helping other people. So to have that concentration of people who have followed the principles of productivity and embodied it and are now living it, to be there, I would buy a ticket immediately because you're going to be around so much advice. And the number one word that PDA is described in the market is supportive.
I totally can see that. I could not echo that anymore, being to several PDA events over the last 3 or 4 years. Supportive is the perfect word. Collaborative, energetic. Chad, you know this. We had our camera out filming some things, doing interviews and stuff. It's just the energy around PDA is always incredible. It is honestly our favorite event we go to every year. This is why I never miss it.
It's going to be a blast. And Chad, I'm glad you'll be joining us.
I will be there.
He missed one, Matt.
In the last 8 years.
Yeah. He missed one, and I felt a
And
void.
you never let him hear the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Might as well, because it will be the last one in a long time that I'll miss.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, thanks for sitting down and telling us about your inaugural event, which is already a success. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of your growth and Dentist Advisors' growth and just you being in the market and doing this for dentists. It's incredible what you're doing out there. And can't wait to see you in Park City and in Frisco.
Yes, I can't wait for both. The feeling is mutual. We love the collaboration we do with PDA and with both of you. And again, one of many to come, hopefully. So excited.
Yep. Thanks, Matt, for joining us.
Yeah,
thanks, listeners, for listening in. Hopefully that brought a lot of value to you. Do go to dentistadvisors.com and find the Dentist Money Summit for 2024. Or one more time, the website for this event.
DentistMoneySummit.com.
Boom. Go check it out.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Everyday Practices Podcast. Chad and I are here every week thanks to our community of listeners just like you, and we'd love your help. It would mean the world if you can help spread the word by sharing this episode with a fellow dentist and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Do you have an extraordinary story you'd like to share or feedback on how we can make this podcast even more awesome? Drop us an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts from Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentist.com/podcasts. See you next week.